Today I'm going to be talking about how to be discoverable inside of artificial intelligence, both inside of chatbots and AI overviews, which are increasingly important, and I'll show you what they look like. So a big question right now is, how do you show up inside of artificial intelligence? If you're running a business, if you have a personal brand, if you just want to be seen on the internet, it used to be about search engine optimization. But now that AI is eating into search engine, it's eating into the Google results, how do we show up? How do we make sure that people are pointed towards our businesses, towards our products, towards what it is we have to offer? Lots of different terms for this. We have some actual data at last. We have a tweet from a guy called Tim Sulu, who works over at Ahrefs, who has given us a bunch of information based on 1 billion data points across 14 studies, talking about AI search optimization. So AI cannot recommend you unless it can find you, and we need to appear in AI recommendations because increasingly this is how people are finding information. They're looking things up, they're going to be going to AI, not to search, and we need to be ahead of this. We need to be ready. So first up, caveat. We haven't even decided what this is called. Is it AI SEO? Is it GEO, Generative Engine Optimization? Is it LLM SEO, Large Language Model Search Engine Optimization? Is it LLMEO? Is it AEO? Is it AI Visibility? We don't even have a name for it. That kind of tells you how early we are in this. We do not know how this works. That is why this particular thread that I'm going to go through is so useful, because they actually have data, 1 billion data points across 14 studies. And Ahrefs, for those of you who don't know it, used to be a large SEO optimization company. You would use it to optimize your SEO. Now they're moving more into artificial intelligence. So that's where we're getting the data from. AI is still looking for evidence. It is still, much like search engine optimization, looking to see that what it is that you create, what it is that you build, what it is that you publish is valuable. That's kind of still the basis of this. You cannot just trick your way through the algorithms and trick these machines into thinking that what you do is valuable. You still need to be out there building stuff, doing stuff, putting things out onto various different surfaces so that you show up. And it's going to be looking for evidence on multiple different surfaces. Obviously, your website, still very important. YouTube, we're going to talk about this. YouTube is incredibly important for search for AI recommendations. I'll come to that in a moment. Directories, comparison lists, stories, press, so from third parties talking about you, case studies, reviews, etc. All of this is still very useful. What we're working out right now is which ones are the most useful inside of AI recommendations, because we kind of have a vague idea for search engine optimization for Google. We don't necessarily know about the black box that is ChatGPT or Google's AI overviews. So the best X blog listicles are the single most prominent content format cited by chatbot. They make up 43.8% of all page types cited by ChatGPT specifically. So that is an incredibly important first piece of information. If you are putting together blogs, this right now is the format that you should be putting together. Your website is still incredibly important, and the particular format that ChatGPT likes are these best X, so the best 10 surfboards, the best 20 stand-up paddle boards. It likes that information because it is structured and it's able to pull that into its recommendations. This is specifically about ChatGPT. There are different surfaces here. There's me or yourself going into a chatbot, going into ChatGPT, going into Claude, going into Gemini and saying, hey, what are the best paddleboards? That is one surface, and it will give us some information. Then there's also AI overviews, AIO. This is relatively new. So when I search something like what are the best paddleboard brands on Google, yes, I have, as per usual, I have all of the websites down here. I've got World or Stand Up Paddleboard World. I have Reddit, I have SUP board guide, etc. Inflatable border. What we have at the top here is the AI overview, and I'm sure you've seen these. These happen on informational searches for the most part, not on transactional, but on informational searches. So I've asked what are the best paddleboard brands. Normally on Google, that would just give me a list of websites who help me answer that question. Now that information is being pulled up into the AI overview. So you see a few images here, and then it's given me a bunch of information. The best overall is Red Equipment. It's widely considered the gold standard, etc. Let's actually jump in. So this is being cited in the AI overview, and you can see the structure. They have like number 1, best all round. They've got some specifications, they've got some links to go and buy it, they've got reasons to buy, reasons not to buy, etc. This is a listicle. So this is fully backing up what Tim Sula was saying. The best X, so the best 10, the best 20, whatever it is, or the best in 2026, these type of blog articles do really, really well. They make up 44% of all page types directly cited by ChatGPT. So very, very important. Your website is still extremely important, and use blog listicles ideally because they are working right now. That might not be what works in the future, but for now, that's what we're going to use. So I need to start adding some to my website. 67% of ChatGPT's top 1,000 citations come from sources marketers can't influence. So Wikipedia. Technically you can influence Wikipedia, but you have to be a bit tricky about it. So Wikipedia is being used as a massive source of reference. This is also why OpenAI and the other AI companies should start to donate to Wikipedia, really, because they're really pulling on this information. Homepages or websites, so that's still very important. He's saying marketers can't influence, but you, as you run a business, very likely you can influence your homepage. He's talking about if you are a marketer running, like building SEO assets for a company, generally you do not have the ability to rewrite their homepage. App Store listings, only 32% are influenceable content like educational pages, reviews, news, and blog posts. So it's saying some things are just kind of out of your control, especially Wikipedia articles, but instead you're going to be focusing on things that you can influence, like the blog posts, like the listicles that we just talked about. Here's a really interesting one. 28% of ChatGPT's most cited pages have zero Google organic visibility. These pages get cited repeatedly by ChatGPT despite not ranking in Google at all. So it's a completely separate discovery layer. They just scrape everything from the internet and then use that for their training. But a lot of these citations just don't show up on Google. There's a really good example, personal example. I was looking for a law firm here in Cyprus, and there was a law firm, I forgot the name of it, but it kept popping up in all of my Claude discussions. It's like, oh, you should talk to GK Law, the ones you need to talk to. And I looked them up on Google, and it's not a particularly impressive website. It was kind of hard to find. So they have very limited SEO visibility. They're not doing a very good SEO job, but still it was being cited by Claude as, oh yeah, these are the guys you need to talk to. And some conspiracy theorists would say, oh, well, I'm sure they're paying for listings. No, not at all. These guys barely had a website, but they were definitely not buying. I mean, you can't buy influence inside of the AI results yet. ChatGPT only cites about 50% of the URLs it retrieves, so it will go and fetch a bunch of URLs during its research, but it is not necessarily going to surface them in the answer that it gives to you. So it's going to use half as background context without attribution, which means it's actually retrieving it and using that information in its answer, but not linking back to it, which is a little bit cheeky. It just means you need to know that being retrieved and having your information used in an AI answer is not the same as being cited. 50% of the time you will not have a citation. It will not point back to you. It will not say this is where it came from, which brings up its own questions. So your website and blog articles is very, very exciting, but there's going to be more than that. So we have control over the website, over the pages, over the blog articles, case studies, lead magnets, whatever you want to put on your website. Continue to do that. That is still valuable stuff. But AI is also looking at things outside your control. So reviews, YouTube, we'll talk about this in a moment, directories, podcasts, press, lists. So podcasts in particular has been a really good one for me. Whenever I go on a podcast or I actually post these lives as a podcast, that is a really big discoverability channel, and that really pops up on Claude in particular. I'm doing these daily lives, but for some reason it is indexing that more heavily than all of my other work. So I think podcasts, again, this is anecdotal, but this is a way in as well. So we need everything around us. It's not just what we're publishing, but it's what other people are saying about us. So I think the big one, the really big one here, and this is the one that's going to shock a lot of people and probably change what you do, is YouTube. So YouTube mentions have the highest correlation with AI brand visibility out of all the factors we studied, including all the conventional SEO metrics like backlinks, page count, domain ranking, etc. This held true for both Google-owned and OpenAI products. So ChatGPT is also looking at YouTube. You'd expect Google to, because they own YouTube, but it's the same for OpenAI. So YouTube, showing up on YouTube, being mentioned on YouTube, is one of the highest quality signals for artificial intelligence. Massive correlation between mentions showing up and showing up inside of AI. So this could be your own YouTube channel. That's going to be the easiest way to control this, or it could be appearing in other people's YouTube channels. That could be by sponsoring videos. If you're running a business, that could be by appearing as a guest and on other people's videos and having people link back to it. Or it could just be because you're doing cool things and people want to feature you and your work on YouTube. Whatever it is heavily indexed inside of the AI models, both Gemini and ChatGPT. So it's well worth looking at your YouTube strategy, especially if it's something that you've been thinking about doing. I think this is a big, useful framing one. AI overviews. So, for example, this best paddleboard at the top here, this is why we need to pay attention. AI overviews reduce clicks to the number one result by 58%. And that's up from 35% just 10 months earlier. The trend is accelerating. So as these AI overviews get more useful, there is less and less reason to go down here and click on this particular link. Because if I click on this link, I bet it'd be full of adverts. It's trying to sell me things. So I might click around. I might spend an hour working out this stand-up paddleboard. Or I can come onto AI overviews and it can say, oh, a really good one for beginners is bluefin. And I'm like, okay, I've seen some bluefins at a local shop. That's good enough for me. And I don't need to go through. So you can see the citations here from Reddit and some other websites. I can click on them to go and check out those sources. Most of the time people will be lazy and won't bother. That's fine. And as these AI overviews get better and better and better, there is less incentive for us to click through to those websites. And that is a disaster for websites like this, because they make money from me coming onto this website, reading about the stand-up paddleboard, clicking on the check price and buying either through them directly or through an affiliate link from Amazon or whatever it is. So that leads us to a problem down the road, which is, hey, well, why would I bother to make a website like this if I'm not going to make any money from it anymore? And if I'm not going to make any money from it, if I'm not going to build websites like this, what are you going to get your information from for your AI overviews moving forward? That's a later problem, but that is a very big issue that we're going to see over the next couple of years. Comparison content, we actually talked about that. So the best cited pages are the best X, best 10, best 20, whatever blog listicles, do some of them. If people compare options in your category, you want to appear when these comparisons happen. So put together comparison pages of yourself and your competitors, or if you are selling kind of within the category, just put together pages like we just saw, which was a list of the best stand-up paddleboards if you sell paddleboards, for example. So very, very basic stuff. It's a good SEO format anyway, but it is particularly important for showing up on AI. Another important thing was adding schema markup had zero meaningful impact on AI citations. AI overviews actually dipped by 5%, while AI mode went up slightly, but they were indistinguishable from zero. In general, fiddling around with the technicals of your website, trying to make it so it's easier for the AI to read it, is not really worth your time. There were lots of people, this was last year, probably saying, oh, you need to get your schema set up so that the AI can read your site, so that it knows what information it should pull. And there's kind of grey hat, not quite black hat, but techniques for tricking the AI. Don't bother. Like, remember that the people building these are constantly changing how these work. And as soon as there is like a hack or a shortcut, like keyword stuffing, this was back in the days of old SEO, shit like that doesn't work for long. So don't try to out the people making these models. Don't try and outdo the engineers at Google, because they will blow these methods out of the water. And if you are using tricksy methods, if you are using overly technical things, then you're more likely just to get penalized. Sorry, schema is not necessarily black hat. It definitely isn't black hat, but it's focusing on highly technical ways to get your technical SEO up and not necessarily going to help inside of AI. So don't focus there. Instead, focus on doing cool stuff and publishing useful information, just being helpful to people. If you focus on that core value add, then you're going to do well. because the AI will pick up on that. And it's not about tricking the system. It's about genuinely providing something that is valuable that the AI then wants to use, and then it's going to point people in your direction. So this is exactly the same with search engine optimization. Don't just do something interesting that people want to hear about. Build something interesting that people want to learn about and buy. That is always going to be the simplest way to market something. So instead of doing something crappy or like not interesting and then trying to force it down people's throat, just spend more time trying to do something that people actually care about, and then talk about it on social media. So I've got a little checklist here. These are more kind of practical tips. I'll put this in the newsletter. So rewriting your homepage so it clearly says who you help, just basically giving the AI a much clearer sense of who you are, having that nearer the top of the page because that's where it's going to read initially. Build one strong service page per core offer. Publish one useful guide that answers a real buyer question. Add a couple of case studies. Ask happy customers for review. Turn one proof point into a short video. Video testimonials are great. Get into some directory lists and update all content that still matters. These are very basic search engine optimization techniques. You're just going to go ahead and do these and focus on putting actual value out there. So list-based articles, and get on top of YouTube. You need to start showing up on YouTube. But beyond that, just make stuff that people want to consume. That's basically the simple version here, and it's going to make life a lot easier for you. Awesome. So hopefully this has been useful. This will all be available in the newsletter. You will also find many free guides back on the website, aiwithkyle.com, and that's where you can sign up for the newsletter. I will give you the slide decks for this and give you some action plans as well. I'll also put the initial tweet from Tim Sulu, which is a very useful one for reference, inside of the newsletter as well. So make sure you're signed up as aiwithkyle.com, and then it's free to sign up and you'll be able to get everything from me moving forward.